The next presenter, as you saw on the bio, is Esme Thompson. And Esme, I'm going to turn things over to you and see if I can get you control of the mouse here.
Okay, thank you. Perry, can you hear me? Perry, Bonnie, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, actually, and did I take control? Okay. I think so. All right, here we go. Well, thank you, Bonnie, for that introduction. Fantastic. It's a reminder for all of us that development is something that we should continue to do no matter what stage of career life we find ourselves in. There's always something that we can learn, that we can do for ourselves and actually for others. As we develop ourselves, we also develop others. So thank you for that. I guess I should share a little bit about myself and then get into the topic of teams and why teams are near and dear, so close to my heart. So I spent about 11 years at Kraft, first on the domestic side, then the international side. Actually, the bulk of my career was on the international side of the business, what is now Mondelez. And after leaving Kraft, I worked for the Center for Creative Leadership for a short period of time, and then I went to work in the pharmaceutical industry. And beginning around 8-9 years ago, I went out on my own, and now I am mostly an executive coach. The bulk of my work is in coaching, although I still do quite a bit of team development work. And it's because we do spend so much of our time working in teams, or at least I have found in my career, spent a lot of my time working in teams or with teams. So with that, I will, I guess, get started. Okay. So once again, thank you for joining this discussion today, and kudos to you for taking the time to invest in your development. As I mentioned before, Bonnie walked us through the importance of self-development and provided us with very tangible, actionable plan for our ongoing development. I will pivot to the work that we do in teams, and particularly our work as a team leader. Although a lot of this applies to us as team members, but I will be mostly addressing the issues that we face as team leaders. Specifically, let's see if I can make this work here. Ta-da! No, it's not advancing either for me, even though it says that I have control of Perry's screen, but for whatever reason, it's not really. Yeah, here we go. Okay. All right, so specifically, what I will talk about is what is team alignment, team effectiveness, what criteria do we need to keep in mind in order to align your team's work towards your business strategy. I will then highlight some of the areas that have the greatest impact on team member engagement. Everything I present plus some additional tools are available to you in a handout. Okay. So for the purposes of this webinar, I will be using the description that's on your screens right now for a team. So a team is a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose, to common performance goals and approach for which they hold themselves mutually accountable. And that's the key operative here. Hold themselves mutually accountable. This, in essence, is what differentiates a team from a working group. There's a clear sense of what we need to do and how we need to do it to deliver our common goals. Okay? So with this definition, let's go to our first poll. What % of your day do you spend doing team-related work? And by that I mean as a team leader, as a member, ad hoc member, in response to requests of teams. If you're an external, do you work with just a client or clients, individual clients? Do you work with client teams? What % of your day do you spend doing team-related work. Okay, so let's take a moment now to answer the questions. Let's see. So again, to participate in the poll, as Perry mentioned, hopefully you already have this number in, and 22333. Then the message is Perry Schultz 398. And once you get a response back, you put in your response. Let's see, any results coming in? Total results 0 so far. Perry, any thoughts on that?
Esme, it's Bonnie. I'm trying to, my cell phone gives me this message that I have to keep
Oh, we haven't opened the poll yet. Yeah, I see that. I just tested it out. It says it hasn't opened the poll yet. Try again. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Try it again.
Let's go.
Okay. Well, you know what? In the interest of time, let's move on. It says 1 result, 2 results. Let's see. Yeah, can we show the results and see? All right. So far, give it 1 more second. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so at least 50% of our time. Okay, 50% of our time. At minimum, maximum 90%, maybe more. Okay. So clearly, but this validates the experience, as I mentioned, that I've had personally, and also the experience that Bonnie and Perry have had as we talked about how much time we spend living and working in teams. And teams is really where, the whole human condition shows up, right? The full catastrophe. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what makes for a healthy team and how to make sure that our team members stay engaged in the work that they do as a team. All right, let's lock it and move on. So let's discuss team health. And I'm going to use a very simple model that actually we started using at Craft. So some of my colleagues and I put this model together with the help of some external consultants based on all the research that was available to us at the time. And over the years, I have found, folks, that this very simple model still very relevant. I still use it today with my clients. There are many wonderful models out there, but the one that I will focus on today for our discussion is this very simple one. Basically, how well do your team goals, roles, processes align with your business strategy? How well do each of these help you deliver your business strategy? How well do your team members work with each other within the team and with others outside of the team, with all key stakeholders? How well do they work within the team and with those outside of the team? How well does the team as a whole understand its stakeholder needs, understand the external environment in which they are a part of? These are all the things that make for team health if they properly align with each other and work towards delivering your business strategy. Very simple criteria. So let's go through each of these one by one. Okay, here we go. My apologies there. It's pretty slow. Here we go. Okay. So starting off with goals, what I'll do for each of these criteria is that I'll talk a little bit about them. I've included some questions. They are in your handout as part of a diagnostic that you can use later on with your team or just on your own. I won't go through the questions, but they are available to you in the handout. So starting off with goals, need to be very clear, actionable. The team knows and is aligned around what is expected of them. As a team and as individuals. Individual goals themselves are very clear, explicit, they support the purpose and strategy. I, as a team member, should know and should understand that, yes, my goals serve a higher purpose, right? They serve the purposes of the team, they serve the purpose of the organization. Performance metrics, absolutely key, need to be consistent with your overall organization's KPIs. They should measure not just how well we're doing against the business strategy, how well we're doing against the goals that we've set for ourselves. Your performance metrics should also measure how we're doing as a team. So an internal measure of our effectiveness as a team. Okay, so those are our goals. Roles and responsibilities. Let me start with individual roles and responsibilities. Each member should know what skills and competencies they need to be successful in their roles. If they don't have those required skills and competencies, hopefully you and your team member are working towards filling those gaps, either by helping the team member develop him or herself, by having them partner with other members of the team, or partner with colleagues outside of the team who may have the skills and experience necessary. So team members should be very clear as to their skills and competencies and how to bring those to bear in the team. Each team member should know what part they play in delivering the goals, okay? And they should know what they are exclusively accountable for and what responsibilities they share with other members of the team. So what am I accountable for? Okay. What do I need to take the lead on? What do others depend on me to deliver? And where do I share that responsibility? Okay. Bottom line, when it comes to roles and responsibilities, there should be no mystery as to who does what. All right. We skipped one, processes. Okay, processes, which are absolutely key, right? Because this is where teams are great, successful, or they fall apart. It all depends on how well they manage their processes. So we have two distinct types of processes. One is business process, so processes that we are responsible for as a function or as a project team that we need to deliver to the organization. Then there's the internal team process, which refers to how do we operate as a team. Examples of that includes what agreements we make around how we make decisions. Do we follow a democratic process or the team leader ultimately decides? Let's be clear about that. How do we resolve conflict? How do we track progress towards our goals? And last but not least, meetings. How frequently should we meet? What is the purpose of our meetings? Who's going to be responsible for the agenda? Who's going to be responsible for follow-ups, et cetera, et cetera? What are our team dynamics going to be? Open, free flow of ideas? Is it just going to be, are we just going to meet to make a decision? Everybody should do read all the pre-work ahead of time. Let's be very, very clear as to what our team process is going to be. Let's experiment, see what's going to work for us. Then put some norms in place. Let's make it explicit and very clear to all team members. So again, processes absolutely critical for team success, that we really pay attention or understand or are aware of our responsibilities regarding our business processes and what it will take to have a robust internal team process. Each team member should know the role they play. And if this is not clear, my recommendation for you as a team leader is to engage in a process mapping exercise, for example. You map out the process and you clarify roles and responsibilities using a tool or a technique like RACI or Rapid. There are many others in craft, and way back when we used to use the Paris model, but RACI or Rapid are now the vernacular that is used in project management. RACI stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. Rapid stands for, let's see if I remember now, recommend, agree, perform, input, decide. Oof, okay. So I highly recommend that you use a process for determining, okay, are we clear about what we need to deliver and who's responsible for what? All right. Next, in holding this pyramid together are relationships. So relationships in a healthy, high-performing team are characterized by open, ongoing, formal, informal communication, deep levels of trust, shared values, the strong commitment to the goals. Okay, so relationships, this is what the whole pyramid stands on, the strengths of our relationships. How strong are they? How open is our communication? Absolutely key. When you join a team, a very clear diagnostic of the health of the team. It's how does information flow? Is there an open and free flow of information? Is it the right kind of information that people need in order to get their work done, in order to progress the work, in order to stay in tune with what's going on in the rest of the organization? Relationships. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about engagement. And last but not least, there is the external environment in which we operate. Okay, so how well does the team understand the context within which the team operates? How well does it understand its stakeholder needs? How well does it understand the impact its decisions have on other teams and other parts of the organization, internally, externally, etc.? So how attuned is the team to the external environment in which it operates? So all of these, putting all of these together gives us a sense of how healthy our team is, especially if they are aligned towards delivering your business strategy. You may have, a lot of these things in place, but at the end of the day, is it helping you deliver against your strategy? That's always the key. Okay. Let me now move on to our next poll question as we shift into engagement. So what else, other than ensuring your team is nice and healthy, what else can you do to improve productivity, drive engagement, continuous learning, and results? So take a moment to think through each of these statements here, and then pick the one that in your experience is most likely to improve engagement. So they are recognition for good work, and the recognition could be public or private, providing incentives to individuals or to the team, providing interpersonal support, i.e. just-in-time feedback, some coaching, etc., interpersonal support, providing team members with support for making progress in the work that they do on a daily basis. And lastly, ensuring that their goals are clear and well understood. Individual goals, team goals are clear and understood. So let's move to the next slide here, which is the poll. Hopefully it is active. If you will take a moment to respond, picking out the one that you feel is most likely to improve engagement. Okay. Perry, could we make sure that the poll is, okay, you just did. Okay, so we're seeing provide interpersonal support is coming in loud and clear. Recognition for good work. Nope. Providing support. Support making progress. All right. Looks like we're done. So all of these factors are important, and they're all within your control as a team leader. You can use each of these situationally. So whenever you need to and whenever it's appropriate, you can use any of these factors to drive engagement in your organization. Okay? But I would submit that, I think we're done. Okay. Thanks, Perry. I think I can now move. Okay. I would submit that support for making progress in the work is something that you can do daily, that you can leverage to develop your individual team members as well as the team as a whole, and that out of all of these on a daily basis, has a higher impact on how team members feel about the work. And yes, I did use the F word, feel. How do they feel about the work? What drives their motivation? So how they feel about the work will drive how motivated they are to do the work, and therefore how likely they are to deliver, especially at a higher standard level. Okay. So progress. Once again, I'm taking my time with this one because it's a little bit, it's counterintuitive here, but let's play with it. So support in making progress in my work daily, right? If I'm a team member, I work for you, and I feel like I'm getting all the support that I need in order to kick butt as far as my goals are concerned, really to make some progress every day, okay, overcome obstacles as they come up every single day. That is going to have an impact on how I feel about the work that I do. And how I feel about the work will drive my motivation to do it better, to do it with my colleagues, with the team, and to deliver, and maybe even above and beyond what is expected. Okay, so progress, making progress. So what tangible steps can you take to improve how your teams relate to the work? Let's take a look. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about nourishers and catalysts. Ooh, and we're getting really low on time, so I'm going to clip through this really quickly. Nourishers, what are those? Those are events that support the individual team member, the human being. So for example, providing them with respect and recognition, an acknowledgement of their efforts, for example, giving their ideas serious consideration, dealing with them honestly, okay, providing them with constructive feedback. That's a form of respect, of providing them, showing them respect and recognizing the effort that they're making towards their work every day. Emotional support, for example, team leaders, you can basically acknowledge and validate what's going on for individuals on a daily basis. Yep, I hear you, man. I can understand that you're frustrated and with the setback. Now, how can we help you find a way around it? How can we help you move forward, right? So just a simple acknowledgement of what the individual is going through is a way of providing emotional support. When you detect inappropriate or toxic behavior, addressing it privately, directly, and very constructively demonstrates respect and emotional support for the individual. A lot of times toxic behavior is a call for help. So what else? Affiliation and camaraderie, how to help build bonds and trust and appreciation between team members, taking full advantage of, let's say, regular staff meetings to to provide teams with an opportunity to come together, to work together. So looking for opportunities within the day-to-day work for people to get to know each other. Of course, you can always do additional activities like team building sessions, volunteering in the community. Those are all great, but my suggestion is start with the work itself as a driver for building trust, for building the camaraderie within the team. So those are some examples of nourishers. They tend to infuse the work that we do with meaning. So if I believe that my work matters, right? If I believe my work is important, my work matters, I will do my very best to deliver it. That's the purpose of a nourisher as a lever that you can use as a team leader. Catalysts. So a couple of examples of catalysts. So catalysts are events that support the work. They facilitate the timely delivery of work and completion of the work. Some examples are, let's see, providing sufficient resources. Do your team members have access to necessary equipment, data, dare I say it, budget, materials, other people in the organization to help them get their work done? Do they have the resources they need to make progress towards their goals? Sufficient time, but not too much. So clear deadlines, occasional time pressures. Yes, those drive motivation. They drive creative problem solving. They kind of get the juices flowing of the team and of individuals. But too much time pressure that is due to inefficiencies or flawed decision making, that will have the opposite effect, right? Can lead to disengagement. But just the right balance of, some time pressures and meeting a deadline. Come on, team, let's go. That tends to get the juices flowing. But again, as a team leader, striking the right balance. So by deliberately supporting the individual and the work that they do, each team member and the team as a whole should experience a greater connection to the work. These should allow them to make some progress in the work, which should help them experience a greater connection to the work, a greater connection to the team. And this, in the end, ends up driving your productivity, right? So if I'm making progress against my goals, chances are that I'm also being pretty productive in the work, and the team is being productive as well. And it's productivity that affects engagement. Productivity is the number one reason that people feel engaged in the workplace. Okay, so we tend to think of the ping pong tables and foosball, and I go into client sites, and man, they're beautiful. The client sites are beautiful. Are the people engaged? It depends. You start talking to them, they start complaining about everything that doesn't work, but they have the ping pong tables and they have the free lunch and all that stuff. So if instead we invest on making sure that they have what they need in order to progress and to feel that their work has purpose and meaning, chances are their productivity levels go up, productivity goes up, engagement goes up, and that feeds productivity as well. Okay, we have covered a whole lot of ground in a very short period of time. So let me wrap up. Let's see, teamwork. Teams require clear goals, roles, processes, trusting relationships in order to be healthy and for high performance. As I just mentioned, productivity drives engagement, which drives productivity. These work in tandem. And lastly, leading a team is helping you develop your own leadership capability. And it's also helping you develop the next wave of leaders in the organization, or the next wave of functional experts, functional or technical leaders in the organization. And we need both. And teams are a perfect place to develop yourself, develop the next wave of leaders in the organization. I'm hoping that what you heard from Bonnie today and from me was either a reminder of some stuff that you already do, and if not, that you're now aware of some tools that are available to you for developing yourself and for developing your team. So with that, I will pass it over to Senor Perry.
Thank you, Esme. And appreciate the passion and really that you could remember all those terms from craft from way back off the top of your head. That's amazing. Speaks to your expertise in this area.